Hi guys, welcome to the next vlog. You find me on Willow Park in Aldershot, which is a 10-acre lake. It has approximately 400 carp in here, of which I believe 6 are over 30 pounds, the largest being 32, 33 pounds. It's good for winter form, it's got good winter form, but as you can probably see from the picture, it is anything but winter here at the moment. It's an absolutely cracking day, really nice. Bit of a breeze in the air, but nice and sunny. I got here about 10 o'clock, which is the time I could start, and by 12:30 I had all 3 rods in, the bivvy up, everything sorted, and the day had started, as it were. The fishing trip had started. I've got 3 rods. It's a 3-rod rule, barbless hooks. I've got all 3 rods out on zigs, which is controversial for me because I'm not a big fan of zigs, but with the weather like it is, and everyone says that if you're going to try them, you've got to try them properly. What I would normally do is put 2 out on a pop-up, 2 rods on a pop-up, and then just put one rod on a zig rig as a token gesture for like a couple of hours, and then give up and put that onto a pop-up or a rafter as well. So I've not really given zig rigs a good go. So what I've decided, I'm here for 3 days and 3 nights. So I've decided to dedicate one whole day on zigs, all 3 rods on zigs, and see how we get on. So I'm going to do all day today on zigs. I may do zigs overnight as well, or I may switch tonight and then do another night or another day on zigs, because the weather is supposed to be like this all 3 days. I think Friday morning when I pack up and leave by 10 o'clock, there is a forecast 30 or 40% chance of rain, but the rest of the time it should be nice and sunny but no rain, which would be really nice. Anyway, so in terms of the rods, I've got all 3 out on zigs. The left hand rod is 13 wraps out. My limit in this swim is 14 wraps, so I'm just by the limit. 13 wraps out on a 4-foot zig. So the rig, the bait is 4 foot from the bottom. The lake itself is 9 foot where I am in terms of depth, so I'm fishing 5 foot from the top and 4 foot from the bottom. The second rod, the next rod next to that, is 10 wraps out, and that is on a 3-foot zig, so 6 foot from the top, 3 foot from the bottom. And then the very far rod on the right hand side is in a little bay. Technically some of that water is mine, but it's also where I've actually got my rig is probably swim 7's water, but there's no one in swim 7, and there's not due to be anyone in 7. It's not very widely used because it's just a little bay, but they said I could cast over there until someone came, so I've put my rod over there as well. That's 8 wraps out, and that's 2 foot from the bottom. So I've kind of got a mixture of depths that I'm fishing and a mixture of distances out that I am, and it's just a question of sit back and wait and see what happens. I'm going to get the deeper out in a minute and just have a little deeper around and look for spots, so that when I do switch to pop-ups, assuming I do, when I do switch to pop-ups or rafters, I'll have some good spots there. And I've also just put a bit of bait out where the zigs are. It's not really going to have much effect, but it is a kind of an aspect of pre-baiting, so that if I put pop-ups in exactly the same place where the zigs are at the moment, then at least I've put some pre-baiting down there. So it's just a question of sit back and see what happens now. We'll catch up with you in a bit. Bye for now. Hi guys, quick catch up. It's currently around 6 o'clock. It's the end of day 1. Well, not the end, we've got all night, but as far as updates are concerned, no luck, nothing this afternoon, no bleeps, no shows, nothing I could see. I stuck with the zigs until around 5:30 when I wound in. I went back to the van to get some other bits, and then I've changed to pop-ups on all 3 different pop-ups on each, or a different pop-up on each rod. Yellow, my favourite pop-up on one rod, MC Nut on the other rod, and the K2 pop-up on the other rod. To be honest, I can't actually remember which one's got which on, and then I've spawned a mixture over the top, so that should be it for today. So anything in the night would be good, but we'll see how we go. I'm hoping tomorrow's going to be similar to today, so we can get up early, get the rods refreshed, and then maybe at least have 2 on zigs for the day and see how we go with that. Maybe move the zigs around a bit. I'll put a zig out for a couple of hours and then move it, put it out again, etc. Whereas today they were quite static in terms of where I had them. So if you don't hear from me in the night, I shall see you in the morning. Have a good one. So, missing footage alert. So, having spent over 24 hours on peg 6 and not had any fish, any liners, any bleeps, any knocks, anything, because of the amount of pressure, I was on 6. There was people on 5 with 3 rods, people on 4 with 3 rods. So a lot of rods all going to us, or a lot of lines all going to a similar area. So I decided at 11:30 to move, had a quick look, walk around the lake, and decided to go opposite where I was in swim 6 to swim 27, where there was no one fishing along the bank area. So I moved about 11:30, was all set up with all rods in by about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and this is where you pick up the footage. What a view to wake up to. Absolutely glorious day. Looks like it's going to be a belter. Time for zigs, I think. Maybe a day of zigs. What a sight to see when you open your bivvy in the morning. Lovely jubbly, bring it on. Oh, that was a nice little tree, wasn't it? Nice little common, weighing in at £18, 12 ounces. Same rod, same position, and within an hour, same time. Which an hour sounds a long time apart, but when you've waited 23 hours, it's not that far. But yeah, cracking result. Really happy with that. That's 2 fish today. I put that rod straight back again. Fingers crossed we can sneak another one. I'm going to change the third rod, which is currently on a zig. I'm going to put that on the same yellow pop-up that I've got, that I've caught on twice now. Had nothing from the zig. I've moved it around a couple of times, so go back to what I know and put the third rod out on a pop-up. And fingers crossed we can get another one before the end of today, or if not, another one tonight. I did say 3 would be nice. I kind of always want to average 1 fish every 24 hours. But to be fair, if you'd have said to me, do you want to go on a trip where you'll get a PB and another fish as well, I would have said yes, yes please. So I don't want to be too greedy, but another one this afternoon or tonight would be great. Anyway, I'll stay in touch, and hopefully you'll hear from me again before I pack down in the morning. Speak to you soon. Bye bye. Well guys, this is the end of a 72-hour session on Willow Park Fisheries in Aldershot, and what an absolutely phenomenal session it's been. Everything I've wanted has happened. Well, apart from getting a 30-pounder, but that would have been a bit greedy. It's about 400 carp in here, 6 of which are over 30 pound. So to have that as a target, 30-pounder was a bit extreme. But I have broken my PB with a 27-pound 8-ounce fish on Wednesday, and then yesterday afternoon, same spot, same rod, an 18-pound, I can't remember, 18-pound 10 or 18-pound 12, one of the two, which was phenomenal. And then my last post before I went to bed last night, I said I know it's greedy, but I would really like a fish overnight. That would be the icing on the cake, as it were, the cherry on top. And at 1:40, 1:45 this morning, the right hand rod, different spot, ripped off. And after, I don't know, 10-15 minutes of playing that, got it on the scales, 26 pound on the button. Absolutely blown away. That would have been the PB if I hadn't have been for Wednesday's fish. So 2 PBs. I don't know if it is 2 PBs because the 27 came first. So yeah, but yeah, absolutely cracking session. So all I've got to do now is coming up to 8 o'clock. I've got to be away by 10. I'll leave the rods in, but I'm not expecting anything. And to be honest, I don't want anything, but I don't deserve anything. If there are fish still munching, then give a little bite to someone who hasn't had any luck the last couple of days, because I know there are a couple on here that haven't had anything in the time I've been here. So yeah, absolutely cracking session. Thanks very much for your company, and I know I always said I'd never say this, but if you could please hit the like button, if you could please hit the subscribe button, and if you could please hit the notification button. Do them all in one go, make it easier, and then you'll know when the next video pops up. Cheers, thanks everyone, see you on the next one. Remember, like, subscribe, notifications.